Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Under the Bonnet with Dino. So, Dino investigates the cars that made me. Case closed. Or is it just the beginning? Okay, so welcome to Dino Investigates. Usually I investigate cars and deals, but this week, I'm folding my arms here. This week, I shall be investigating me. Okay, so how cars quietly shape my life. Why, it isn't really about cars. It's about people. It's about opportunities and never, ever, ever giving up. As it's a special one, this, I've been waiting for ages to do this. I guess some people have heard it before, but I've never actually stopped to think about it. Before I forget, the Bright Spark who spotted that I always wear Polo Ralph Lauren. No, I am not I am not sponsored by them as yet, but if that is the case, I will let you know. And if you're listening out there, Mr. Polo Ralph Lauren, I'm your man. Okay, let's go into my childhood. As it's this is just a lovely story, really, and how it shaped my life and the things that I did. We came from a very poor family. I don't want this to sound a sob story. It's far from it. And nor will I go into great detail about me in depth, but it's about how it all shaped me. But one thing I realised that when I was little, I didn't realise how poor we are, or we were, should I say. We had love, which made all the difference. Our lives were filled with love. Now, I say our. I am an only child. I was spoilt, I guess, to the best of their ability. That is, of course, but I felt that I was loved so much. My mum and dad worked really hard, and my mum had an accident in the 60s, late 60s. And what that meant was that she wasn't able to continue working in the mills. And so she decided to set her own business up. Now, my family, my mother's background family, used to produce olive oil and wine. So it was no problem for her to slip into doing business. And what they did was they bought an awfully big house in Bradford. That's where I was brought up. And I still have a great affinity with Bradford. It's very special to me. The thing that they did that was very, it's not cunning, but very entrepreneurial, was that they bought a very large house. And what they did was this, bearing in mind this is the 1970s, and they decided to rent all the rooms out. And we stayed in the downstairs room. We had a kitchen and a lounge, and that was it. We shared one bedroom, and that's how I grew up for 15 years of my life in there. And looking back, I appreciate the sacrifices. Now, money was so tight. It really was. There were times when I cannot tell you how difficult it was in the 1970s when you had power strikes, no lighting on in the house. Many of you will remember that. And we relied upon tenants paying us, and it just got us by. But what it did was that it was able to pay off the mortgage, which was inspirational. So they got another house, and money was tight, but love wasn't. We had such fun. So we had a multicultural uh, bringing up in the house. We had Spanish people, Swedish, Indian, Mexican. Oh, it was just wonderful. And everybody celebrated their own religions at different times. And so you got sweets, or in my case, and I just loved it. And I still look so fondly back. But the essence of it was that it was built upon love and kindness. And of course, they had to work really hard at what they did. But that didn't always transpire into cars. Now, my dad always had a car, but he never had a good car. Vauxhall Viva was his favourite, which I still hate. And the most dreadful thing was the Allegro. And I still have nightmares about this. And it was brown, and it was two-door, and it was just utter rubbish. When I got a bit older, my dad decided to buy me a car. Wisely, he took the decision what model that I was going to have. And it was an Aston Montego, very smart one, they said, in beige. Now, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, can you? But 20 years old getting one, I just felt, I was about to say 50. That's what I am now. I don't have one now. Oh, that makes me laugh, actually. But cars always fascinated me. I guess it was an escape. It was freedom and dreams. And it meant something, not necessarily how expensive they were. Or I liked being transported around in a car, and I still do now. But there was possibility. There was possibility with owning a car, and things would happen. I went to a private school, which I got a scholarship for. To this day, I have no idea how I did it. Well, I reckon it wasn't me. It was down to my mother and her persuasive techniques and talking to the headmaster, who I will be eternally grateful to my dying day. The issue was that I didn't always fit in, not because I was entrepreneurial, which I remember. I hate that word, actually. I like doing business, and I always bought pencils and rubbers, and I bought them at a place called Macro, and I remember just stocking it up and selling it at school, which was great. But I didn't fit in, especially with other children. And the reason is that we were poor. Of course, I've got some wonderful friends now that I've had since childhood. And I guess they won't mind if I say who they are. Harvey, Oshin, Daniel, Terence. Now, all these kids were international, and I felt that I had, just to mind you, not Harvey, but he's very good. It was really wonderful, because that was my escapism. Because the problem was that all the other families had loads of money, and the cars that really affected me, and still do now, is the Mercedes, for example, the big Mercedes that used to come into school, and then my dad would tip up in this awful Austin Allegro, and the shame And the thing is, I should not have felt the shame, but you do. And I was just, I had a feeling that I was looked down upon. But I'm not bitter about it. I don't care now. But it's taken many years. I was somewhat backwards in that. I liked being different. And as I say, cars played a big part in my life. Now, so did cowboy boots. And I can only say in my defense that I was very young. I was 7 or 8, and Italian cousin came from Italy, so it's the 70s. Greece is just out, and he had a pair of wonderful cowboy boots. At the time, I thought they were wonderful. And I thought, do you know, I look like the Bee Gees, except I haven't got the same hair. I don't have a beard, but I do have some cowboy boots. So what I did was put the cowboy boots on, and obviously I had to wear some trousers that were white. Unfortunately, I didn't have any trousers that were white. And I wore some tight white shorts. And what I loved was going down to the main road and strolling along the main road and looking at the cars. But one thing, sorry, I've just found a peg. One thing that I didn't account for was that I thought that the traffic that went by, so they were tooting on their horns. Now looking back, that could have been a bit sinister, and I loved it. I waved back at the cars. I didn't care, but maybe I should have. But this is how I rolled. I still am the same. I don't have any white tight shorts. I may do, actually. But I don't have any cowboy boots. And I certainly won't be strutting my stuff down the main road. I would get some looks. My first business was washing cars. I was about 6 years old. And I didn't obviously like to get my hands dirty. And you know what? Even to this very day, these hands have never seen a day's hard work. I can tell you that. They're not made for work. I can't even nail or screw anything together. I'm rubbish at it. I digress. So washing cars. And what I did was that I got older children and to wash them, and I took the money off the owner of the car, and then I paid the kids and I got the profit. Perfect. I also started my own little stall down in Shipley, selling bits and bobs that I'd collected from people's houses. Obviously, they gave me them because I knocked on the door and I would say, "Have you got anything to sell, or anything to give me for a jumbo?" And that was it. Off I went down to the Shipley Market, and there would be, not in the tight white shorts, I hasten to add, but that could have been very possible. And the stall holders actually complained to the council and said, "That little fat boy there, he's got a stall and he's selling stuff. I don't think he's got a license." So I was then off. I was sent away. Back to cars. Why each car mattered. So, each one of these cars that I'm going to talk about had an impact, and cars are not just cars, their memories, they evoke things, the noises, the smells, the shapes, the sizes. And the first car that I liked was my mum's red Escort. And that's where it all began. I was forced into the Montego. But that taught me something. That number one, I cannot change a tire, because when I did, the actual sill bent on the Montego. The tenants that lived with us, and I'm smiling now, Citroen, 1970s Citroen lifts up like that. The countdown clock, which was just fantastic. It really was. The teacher that used to have a little MG, red MG, again, I loved it. And then I suppose when you start to earn money, you think, okay. And I remember buying a brand new Lotus Esprit yellow. Oh man, that was a tricky car, very tricky car. It was a V8 SE, and it had everything, but the nightmare ownership. It was just horrible, absolutely horrible. I know a number of you have said that you've got cars that Lotuses that actually work. Well done, because mine didn't, and I've experienced many Lotuses, and many don't work, but there are many of you out there that do have Lotuses that do work. BMW Alpina, that was very nice. I'm not talking about the classic car side, although I do have a story. Oh yes, this is quite a good one actually. And I remember my first classic car, and it's a very important car to me. I decided to start with, aim high, and I bought an Aston Martin DB5, and I remember going round to my dad's house, and he's looking at it. I said, "Look, Dad, I've got a new car. It's my first classic. I'm going to keep hold of this. It's not going anywhere." And he looked at it, walked round it, and he said, "Second hand." Well, Dino, if you ever want to squash somebody's... but no, you shouldn't do that anyway. My dad shouldn't have done that, but I think he actually meant it, as in all the cars that mattered to him were new cars. And despite this being a DB5, looked at it second hand. I took him for a drive in it, and he said, "It's noisy and bumpy. You need to sort out the shock absorbers." And, the stories like that can stick with you for life. And it was a good story. And what it did teach me is that there will always be somebody who has more than you, somebody who is bigger, better, faster, got more cars, had bigger spoilers, bigger wheels. It doesn't matter. Tell the story about the car. That's what matters. Even the Allegro, I hated it, still hate it, have nightmares, but it stays with you. It's quite funny now. It did put me off a bit. And I had a wonderful BMW Alpina. And one night, I heard this horrendous bashing at the door. And what had happened was that some men had got I think at the time it was the pavements, the curb. That's it, a curb, because a new road was being laid down, and they picked it up and threw it through the door, smashed the door. Masked men, terrifying, and said, "Where's your keys?" And it's here are the keys. And I didn't realise that there was a guy behind me with a baseball bat, and it put me off cars for such a long time. And I am still wary now, but there's a difference in cars now, I think, for me. I do enjoy them. I do love to listen to the noise that it makes. I love my electric car. I think that's fantastic. That's unfortunately they will take over the world, but you still have wonderful cars. Aston Martin DB5, lovely car. It's the most beautiful car in the world. And other cars that I've owned, I've got rid of them. But with every single car, it's taught me something. It's taught me about success, failure, patience, money, friendship, disappointment, but adventure. And that's why Classic Car Lab exists. Not because I love cars, it's because I love the stories. Every car has a story. And it's this wonderful web that it weaves. And you have to sift through this web, because there are a lot of people out there that are not very nice, that are in it for themselves. And you only realise this in life as you go on. And things change, things move on, things are different. Do I regret anything? No, absolutely not. Because it's just that horrible phrase that we're on a journey. We're just part of this journey. So we may as well enjoy it and do things that are good. Life isn't easy. Nobody owes us anything. You have to push, take opportunities. But I've realised, and it's the most important thing to me, as well as love for my wife, is to be kind, to stay curious, to work hard. If somebody's listening today and feels they're starting with nothing, please don't think that, because that's not where you'll finish. You never know which person, what opportunity, or what car. It might completely change your life. Case closed? Or is it just the beginning? One last thing I'd like to finish with is that if I've made you smile, if I've made you think, or reminded you of a journey, your own journey, I'd love if you would subscribe and share it with someone who could use a little encouragement. You never know whose life or one conversation it may change. It has done for me, and it is doing that every single day. Until next time, keep your wheels turning and keep looking for the next opportunity. I'm Dino. Thank you for listening. I've really enjoyed today. I hope you have. And is it the case closed? I don't think it is. But for the meantime, thank you. I've been Dino. Thank you for listening.